Welcome to Khanversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I want to talk to you about a CBS survey that was conducted recently by CBS, obviously, about the American public opinion with regards to the war on Iran. And the news is not surprising. Most of us knew that a vast majority of Americans were against this war because it is apparent to everybody. Anybody who has some knowledge of foreign policy or of current affairs, who understands a little bit of geopolitics and world politics, fully understands that this war was not fought in any way to advance any American interest. This was America being used as a gun for hire by the Israeli lobby and Israel itself. So it is apparent to a lot of people that this war was not fought certainly not fought under the ideological umbrella of America first. And so not many people were really interested in supporting this war. Plus, there was enough coverage of American intelligence assessment that Iran was not developing a nuclear weapon and that Iran did not pose an imminent threat to the United States. I mean, this was announced by American intelligence agencies. This was made public. This was in various testimonies to the House as well as the Senate. Nevertheless, according to the New York Times, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and his intelligence chief of Mossad convinced Donald Trump that this was a great time to attack Iran, that Iran would collapse, and very soon after decapitating the leadership, America would be able to establish a regime in Iran which would be more loyal to Israel than its own country. Nevertheless, many weeks have passed, many months have passed, negotiations have happened. It is very apparent that the fundamental premises under which the final talks are being negotiated between the US and Iran are under the agenda that was set by the Iranians. And so it's very clear after looking at the broad framework of the Memorandum of Understanding that Donald Trump has essentially surrendered to Iran, even though a lot of military damage was done to Iran. And also in retaliation, Israel, US military bases, and the Gulf countries too suffered. So after a bruising war that lasted for about 6-7 weeks, we have had extended ceasefires, and now we are into an intense phase of dialogue. But what do American people think about all of this? So there is this poll by CBS which says that 78% of Americans want this war to stop now. Period. They want this war to stop now, which means basically they're saying cut and run to the President of the United States. But before that, I want to make two quick announcements. It's 10:34 here, and at 11 o'clock or later, at 11 o'clock, I will perform another show here. This is the title of the show, The Stupid New Iran Plan B by neocons and Donald Trump. So neoconservatives like Senator Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and others who are very unhappy with this war, they have realized that it has not served Israel's entire interests. They want America to just be a constant, eternal servant of Israeli interests, and they realize that Donald Trump's peace with Iran will serve the world's interests as well as America's interests, but not Israel's interests. So they are trying to sabotage this deal. They are trying to subvert it. They are even threatening and criticizing Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, in partnership with his neocon buddies like Lindsey Graham, has come up with a plan. And I will talk about that plan at 11:30. I will mock that plan, and we all shall make fun of the neocons who are just shocked that they did not destroy Iran like they destroyed Iraq after 9/11. And then at midnight, I'll come back and then do this show. This will be 9:30 a.m. in India. This will be in Hindi and Urdu. I'm going to talk about the essence of the talks that J.D. Vance had with the Iranian delegation in Switzerland. So he did a press briefing. I will unpack the press briefing for all of you at midnight. So now, without much ado, let's get back to the CBS poll. So here is the CBS poll. I'm going to walk you through it. Let us see if I can. Okay. All right. So here's the poll. And so the first item on the poll itself, this is the CBS poll. CBS News new poll finds Americans want Iran war ended, but few say US government got better of agreement. So the conflict with Iran, what should the US do now? 78% say end the conflict now. 22% say continue the conflict until Iran gives up more. In most democracies, which are truly democratic, which means that the leaders act according to the wishes of their constituencies. So their leaders don't believe that they are free agents who are out there to use their position in parliaments and in elected office to make money and sell their soul to various lobbies or to act in the interest of some foreign government. That's not what a democracy is all about. In a democracy, people are elected to represent the constituency, their own citizens, the place where they come from, and their job is essentially to make policies which will advance the interests of their constituency. So public opinion does matter. So one way in which the executive or the president can know what his people desire is by looking at public opinion polls. So if a president feels that it's in the interest of the country to go to war with China to defend Taiwan, it may be best that he consult the public. And one way to do that is by asking the Americans, what do they say? Do you support such a war? Now, it's quite possible that the president may have taken millions of dollars from some billionaire who wants America to fight China for the sake of the Taiwanese, who wants American citizens to go and die fighting the Chinese, spending American taxpayer dollars, spending American money, risking American lives, all of that so that Taiwan can achieve its political goals. And of course, America will have no political goals because their president would have sold his soul to some billionaire. So in that case, we can first of all say that, well, public opinion does not really matter because the country is not really democratic. However, look at Mohammed bin Salman. He is afraid to normalize relations with Israel because he feels that his public is not ready. So even in a monarchy, the public opinion does matter because if you really do something that the public really does not like, there could be a revolution. So yes, Donald Trump could decide to go to war with China to Taiwan, but it's quite possible that the Republicans could get completely wiped out in the next elections as the public take their revenge at the polls. But if the elections are rigged, then it's quite possible that there will be a rebellion, and you don't want to risk that. So public opinion matters. It matters a lot in democracies, but it also matters in non-democratic societies. So this figure, 78% of Americans telling Donald Trump they want the war to end now, this should empower Donald Trump to rush or speed up the negotiations with Iran, get the Strait of Hormuz open, and end the conflict. It doesn't matter what a dozen neocons scream at him or what a few anchors on Fox News say. This poll should shut them up. So that's an important factor. So this poll should empower Donald Trump to go ahead and move on his surrender to Iran. That's what the memorandum of understanding is, according to many analysts. Anyway, the next question is, has the U.S. permanently stopped Iran's nuclear program? 31% believe that Iran's nuclear program has been stopped. I wonder what news they are watching. They probably are just reading Donald Trump's Truth Social posts and not even bothering to read any newspaper, because even Fox News does not say that the nuclear program in Iran has ended. In fact, they say the opposite. The only people who said that Iran's nuclear program has ended was before the war. This was before Donald Trump withdrew from the JCPOA. It was after Obama signed the agreement and Iran's program was halted. Anyway, 69% believe that no, it's not done. It's interesting that nearly 70% Americans feel that Iran's nuclear program is not over, yet they want, even a larger number of them want the war to end, which means they are willing to live with Iran's current level of nuclear program. Has the U.S. stopped Iran from threatening other countries? 32% say yes, and 68% say no. Made sure Iran's people are safe and free. I don't know where this 25% people are. Made sure Iran's people are safe and free. Do they think? I don't know, what do they think, these 25% people? They should abstain from answering questions if they don't know anything. And of course, so 1/4 says yes, 3/4 say no. Change Iran's leadership to pro-US. See, there is a bunch of people who are answering these polls who really are not familiar with what's going on. Anyway, they think the regime change has happened because I think they're just reading the Truth Social posts of Donald Trump or listening to him on television where he's saying the regime change has happened, the new leadership is more rational than the previous one, blah, blah, blah. The agreement between the US and Iran is better for the US, 22%, 37% say better for Iran, 41% say about equal. So about 41% say about equal for each, and 22 better for the US. So 63% of, so about 2 out of 3 don't see the memorandum of understanding as something that is better for Iran. I find that very, very interesting because I fall in the 37% category where I think the deal is much, much in favor of Iran than in the US, to the point that I would, if I had just seen the memorandum of understanding, I would have thought the US had lost the war. Will Iran threaten the region in coming months? Probably. 60%, close to 60% say probably, certainly will. 40% say will not. How rubbish. Even when they were answering this question, Iran was threatening to attack Israel. And at that time, the United States apparently made some extra concessions on the Memorandum of Understanding. This was on the day the Memorandum of Understanding was signed. On that day, Israel attacked Beirut, and so the Iranians were walking away, etc. So then Iran was threatening to attack. It was ready to attack Israel. Was the conflict with Iran worth the cost for the US? 31% say worth the cost. 70%. So you're getting the picture that roughly 70-30 is the country is divided. And among those also who think that it's what's the cost, they want the war to end. Iran conflict successful or not? So 1/3, so 37% think that military operations were successful, strategic interests were achieved, and economic interests were protected. 38% feel that military operations were not successful, strategic interests were not achieved, and 47% feel that economic interests were not secured. 25%, 1/4 feel that it was a total failure. That's interesting. So now this is just about Republicans. This really matters because of internal polling. This is probably what Donald Trump cares more about than what all of Americans think. So among Republicans, what should the U.S. do now? End the conflict now. So a clear majority of Americans, 60% Republicans, American Republicans, feel that this war should end now, as opposed to 78% of all Americans, which means the percentage must be very, very high among Democrats. So the MAGA Republicans, also a majority of them, says that the conflict should end now. I'm very surprised that 40% Republicans want this war to continue. I think the reason for that is because they feel that America has been humiliated, and so they want. It's like saying that if you play your last game and let me give you an example. I used to teach in a small liberal arts school which had a very big football and baseball program. So I used to ask people, why did you come to this college? And they would say, well, I didn't do very well in my last high school baseball game, so I want to continue playing in college so that I don't have the bad memory of ending my baseball career or football career on a bad game. So it's like they continue to play in the college so that they are happy with their performance. It's like this. I think the Republicans want the war to continue in the hope that the world will then conclude that America did not lose it. Whereas right now, most people in the world will tell you that America did not achieve its strategic goals and therefore has lost this war. Among Republicans, agreement between US and Iran, this Islamabad memorandum, It says better for the U.S. 40%, nearly 39% Republicans, 47% MAGA feel that this is good for agreement between U.S. and Iran. Better for Iran, only 19%. Oh my God, this is great news for J.D. Vance about equal for each. Fine. I mean, I'm sure J.D. Vance can live with that. So if you look at those who say better for the U.S. and those who say about equal for each, it's about 80% Republicans. So only 20% Republicans, 1 out of 5 Republicans, and 1 out of 7 or 8. Yeah, 1 out of 8 MAGA Republicans think that this deal is a bad deal. Come on, JD. You should see this. I think I will try and tag this to JD Vance's Twitter account. I hope he sees this. You can continue with your negotiations and you can continue to defend. Screw all the neocons on Fox News and YouTube who are attacking you as anti-Semite, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. 80% Republicans think that this deal is not a bad deal. So go ahead with your negotiations. And then this is not Republicans. Conflict with Iran and impact on world economy. 60% feel that more impact than Trump expected. Sure, about what was expected, less impact than Trump expected. Really, these 10% must be the zero IQ people. Trump admin reached agreement with Iran mainly because 66% it wants the conflict to be over. It thinks U.S. has met its goal. These are all the MAGA Republicans, I guess. So Trump's approval rating has been in the steady decline, but 38%. See, this number, about 40%. I was checking, 46% of Americans are Republicans. So there are a very small, about 8% of Americans who are Republicans, or 8 out of 46, that would be roughly 20%. About 20% Republicans feel disapprove of him, and 80% of Republicans approve of his performance. So basically, this is the takeaway, that a significant percentage of Americans feel that the war should stop now. They're probably hurting because even at 3.69, that 3.7, 3.8, $3.80 is the price of gas at the pump right now. It has certainly dropped from 4.2. I remember, in fact, 3 days ago, one day after the Memorandum of Understanding was signed, I remember looking at the gas prices here in Delaware. They were $3.63, $3.80, depending on what gas station you're going. But I saw nothing above $4 here. And there was a time when it was $4.2, $4.20 or something like that. So the average in the U.S. has gone down to 3.6, 3.7. So people are going to be generally happy. But remember, it was around 2.9. So it will still pinch, it will still hurt. And if this deal begins to falter, then it will go back up again. Anyway, the point that I want to make is that the public opinion clearly suggests that a vast majority of Republicans think that the Memorandum of Understanding is pro-America or not. Certainly not pro-Iran. Only 20% Republicans think that this Memorandum of Understanding is to Iran's advantage. I think that is something, it's a credit to Donald Trump, or to J.D. Vance basically, who in the past few days has been hammering, saying this is a great deal. So in spite of all the public critiques, J.D. Vance should not be worried. He should march on because at least MAGA as well as Republicans, other Republicans think that this is a good deal. So his advocacy of this the only people who are really going to be pissed off with this are pro-Israeli AIPAC money takers. That's it. Nobody else. Everybody else wants this war to end, and those who serve Israel, not America, they are the ones who want this war to continue. And it's good to see that that their number is not very high, even in the Republican Party. So that's all I wanted to share with all of you. I hope you found this interesting. I just want to make two more announcements. As I said, I will come back at 11 o'clock and do a show where I'll talk about how stupid the new Iran Plan B is that the neocons are trying to sell. So I will talk to you about Senator Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump, what they have been doing in the last 48 hours. And then after that, I will come back again at midnight, America time, 9:30 a.m. India time, and do a show in Hindi and Urdu where I'll talk about the essence of all what. There have been some breakthroughs in Switzerland, undoubtedly. There was a press conference in which J.D. Vance talked about 4 major achievements by him. So, for example, the Iranians have agreed to let the International Atomic Energy Agency to come in and start inspections right away. So there has been progress on the nuclear issue. There has been a mechanism established to ensure that Iran gets some of its frozen assets through a mechanism that Qatar will be monitoring. And they have set up another de-escalation kind of unit to ensure that the violence does not break out again in Lebanon between Hezbollah and Israel. And they have also come up with some mechanism to establish some kind of communication between the US and Iran to ensure that the Strait of Hormuz remains. So there are some breakthroughs. I will go through it in detail and unpack it for you because from the press conference that J.D. Vance did. So anyway, thank you for watching Khanversations. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this video with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtadar Khan. To my friend from Thailand, Walaikum Salam to you. And thank you for joining from Thailand. And SS Major, that's a very good question. Has there been any survey about Iran or Israel being a bigger danger to world peace? No, there isn't. But if they did a global survey, then most probably the world will list Israel as a bigger danger because it has attacked 7 or 8 countries. But Iran too has done that, but only after it was attacked. And I would love to see a survey like that. But I must tell you that surveys only answer questions which are asked of them. Like, for example, this CBS survey does not ask the question, was the war with Iran in America's national interest? Was this America first or Israel first? They will never ask that question because they're so frightened and paranoid of what the answer would be. Even what should I say, even the Republicans are scared because I guarantee you a large number of Republicans would also say this was not America first. And then what happens is once that knowledge is out there, then Republican elected members of Congress and Senate, etc., including Trump, will have to answer to that particular issue because every reporter in every discussion will say, well, according to the poll, Republicans and Americans feel that this is not in America's national interest, so why do you go to war? So that would become an issue. So you're right that some questions are not asked. So anyway, thank you. I'll see those of you who are interested in my making fun of, and I just want to show to you how stupid Senator Lindsey Graham is. If you're from South Carolina, please watch this show. I'm just going to play a video of his and show you how stupid he is and why the Fox News does not really critically examine whatever rubbish he spews. Anyway, take care. Bye.